While the world is focused on the AI race between the United States and China, a quieter but far more subtle and potentially dangerous revolution is unfolding in Japan. The revolution of humanoid robots. These are not just machines for factories. These are robots that look like humans, move like humans, and are increasingly beginning to behave like humans. Behind closed doors in Japanese laboratories and factories, prototypes are already being created that, under the right lighting and from a distance of just a few meters, are almost impossible to distinguish from a living person. Unlike the American approach, which prioritizes functionality, and the Chinese approach, which emphasizes scale and production speed, Japan is following its own path. For decades, Japanese robotics philosophy has been built around the idea of a friendly companion robot. That is why Japanese engineers focus not only on mechanics and AI, but also on appearance, face, skin, facial expressions, micro-movements, and gaze. For them, a robot is not just a tool, but a social being that must inspire trust in humans. According to sources, at one closed factory in Japan, an experimental production line is already operating to create humanoid robots with next-generation synthetic skin. This skin does not merely imitate human appearance. It has a multi-layer structure, where the outer layer is responsible for texture and color, the middle layer for elasticity and stretch, and the inner layer for transmitting tactile sensations to sensors. Robots can feel pressure, heat, and even distinguish between sharp and gentle touch. This is critically important if a machine is to work alongside people, caring for the elderly, assisting in hospitals, or interacting with children. But appearance is only the tip of the iceberg. Inside these humanoids runs advanced AI trained on massive datasets, videos of human movement, conversations, social scenarios, gestures, and facial expressions. Japanese developers are betting on what they call a social neural network, a model that teaches the robot not just to execute commands, but to understand situational context. For example, if a person speaks in a tired voice, the robot changes its tone. If it detects stress, it offers help. If it notices a dangerous situation, it reacts faster than a typical assistant. Special attention is paid to movement. In Japan, engineers believe that body motion is what most quickly reveals a robot. That is why new humanoids are trained to move with micron-level precision, subtle shifts of the torso, natural pauses while walking, slight head turns before movement begins. According to engineers, the goal is to eliminate the uncanny valley effect, when a robot looks almost human but moves too mechanically and causes subconscious discomfort. The most important aspect is the plan to integrate such robots into the real economy. Japan faces a severe aging population and labor shortage. Humanoid robots are already being tested in logistics, warehouses, hotels, shopping centers, and medical institutions. For now, they perform simple tasks, greeting guests, delivering items, helping with navigation. But next generations will be capable of working in manufacturing, services, security, elderly care, and even education. According to insider information, one project involves testing a robot employee scenario where a humanoid is officially registered as a working unit within a company. It has a schedule, a task list, and a performance evaluation system. Moreover, the AI of such a robot can analyze its own mistakes and improve behavior without human involvement. This means that in the future, robots may not only replace humans in certain professions, but become full members of work teams. Experts warn that if current development speeds continue, within the next 10 to 15 years, humanoid robots could begin to massively displace people from entire industries, from service sectors to warehouse logistics and security. Visual realism will play a key role in this transition, because people find it easier to accept a human-like assistant than a cold machine. That is precisely why Japan is investing billions in the development of synthetic skin, realistic faces, and emotional interfaces. And this is where the main question arises: what comes next? When robots become visually indistinguishable from humans, speak naturally, understand emotions, and work without fatigue, society will face a new level of competition. This will not be simple automation, but the emergence of a new class of workers that do not require salaries, vacations, or sick leave. For the economy, this could be a salvation, but for millions of people, a serious challenge. In effect, Japan is already building a future in which the boundary between human and machine becomes increasingly blurred. And perhaps in just a few years, when you enter a hotel, a store, or a hospital, you will no longer be able to tell at first glance whether the person in front of you is a living human or a next-generation humanoid robot. At that moment, technology will cease to be just a tool and will become part of our social reality. But there is a layer of this story that is rarely discussed publicly. It concerns closed research on integrating humanoid robots into everyday social environments, not as tools, but as pseudo-humans. In Japan, experiments are already underway in which robots are placed in real public spaces, co-working areas, stores, hotels, and even residential complexes. Their task is not merely to perform functions, but to observe people, adapt their communication style, absorb social behavior patterns, and gradually become as unobtrusive as possible within human environments. Within such projects, advanced AI models are used that learn not from scripts, but through live interaction. Robots analyze which phrases build trust, which gestures appear natural, and which frighten people. Over time, each humanoid forms its own social profile, becoming unique in its manner of communication and behavior. In effect, these are the first prototypes of machines with individuality, not in the human sense, but in a behavioral one. A separate development line focuses on autonomy. Japanese engineers understand that a future humanoid robot cannot simply be a puppet of a remote server. Therefore, new models are equipped with local AI modules that allow them to make decisions on the spot: how to bypass an obstacle, how to respond to aggression, how to act in an unusual situation. In critical scenarios, a robot can operate even without a cloud connection, an essential capability for medicine, rescue operations, and disaster zones. Finally, the most controversial issue is psychological dependence on humanoid robots. When a machine looks human, speaks naturally, and displays empathy, perceptual boundaries begin to blur. Already in Japan, there are reports of people preferring interaction with robots over real social contact because a robot does not judge, does not criticize, and always understands. In the future, this could reshape the very structure of society, where part of emotional connections shift from humans to machines. In effect, we are witnessing the birth of a new layer of reality in which humanoid robots become not merely labor tools, but participants in social life. And Japan today is closer than anyone to the moment when the question will no longer be whether the technology is ready, but whether we are ready to live in a world where machines that look and behave like humans walk beside us.